Hi, hello, and welcome back to the channel. I will be honest, first things first, I have tried to record this video several times, but in some way, shape, or form, it always gets stopped, or my screen goes black from just time, which I gotta change. Regardless, what I wanted to say, first of all, is thank you guys so much for showing love and support. I greatly do appreciate it through everything. I was looking at the YouTube comments. I've yet to reply to them. I worked late last night, so I was super tired. I'm up in the morning now, but I have to go to work soon. But they will be replied to today. I promise you that. But that is my main focus of this channel, is just to kind of push it out. And be honest with you, it did better than I thought it was going to do, which is great. And I wasn't undermining it or anything like that, but it did make me happy knowing that it did well, right? So, with everything being said, thank you guys. I will be replying to comments and DMs today for everything. It makes me very happy to know I can just push my perspective out there and just kind of show that, like, hey, it's got some good things. It's all about positive vibes up in here. It's about it, right? And I can share that with you guys. And with the topic of this video, I'll dive briefly more into my past, and then also kind of talking about things that I've learned after that. Which is the start of the topic of this video, is comparison or not feeling like yourself. Not maybe not feeling like yourself, but feeling like you're good enough. It's a better word for that, because they're two different very things, right? When it comes to really feeling like, for me, in my experience, I can only speak about myself, not me ever imprinting to anybody else out there, right? Because I can only share with myself because I know myself. Everybody has their own different situation, but hopefully someone can resonate with it, or they're here to listen, right? Or you do not listen at all. By all means, I will say it every video. But when I was in high school, I should start with, I was in a program called an IEP. Well, prior before that, I was in an IEP at the start of fourth grade. And if you are not familiar with an IEP, it may go by different things in other different schools and states, or even around the world, basically, right? It's more of like something that you're lacking in a little bit, on the weaker side. If it's like a math, if it's a reading, if it's a science, right? You kind of get extra help in that sort of thing. At the time, I didn't take it as that. I took it as more of like, this is a hindrance to me, and it's making me feel bad about myself because I know I'm not at the level where my other peers are at in elementary school, middle school, and high school, right? Throughout the all years. So at the time, it was very detrimental. And if anyone who has gone through it, maybe you might felt the same way as I do, but I am sharing to you what I feel and what I felt in this time. I felt like I had targets kind of painted in my back in terms of like the attention I would get, because there'd be counselors in the room that would help me. Specifically, in my case, I struggled with comprehension, reading, right? I'd read, but I wouldn't retain the information. And that was throughout all time of, basically from elementary school, I started to high school, until my senior year of high school where it was done, right? And with that, it just felt like I always was comparing myself to others because I was in separate split classrooms than others, where I feel like I should be with them, but that wasn't seen in my scores and tests and things of nature. In my reading comprehension, what I would retain, didn't see that either. So facts were there, but obviously nothing I can do about it now. But at the time, that's what it felt like. And what I've learned, and hopefully what I can share to people in my perspective of this scenario, is that when it comes to not feeling like you're good enough, or not feeling like, you're comparing yourself to others, you don't know people's circumstances. And you don't know what path they're on and what it's going to lead you to. I say that because in this case, after high school, I had my IEP was done, right? So at the time, I thought I'd just be done comparison, comparing myself to others, especially in school. And everybody kind of has, I talked about, it has their own path, which is something for me I take pride in because someone cannot have, for me, I believe, a way of speaking. I have a way of, if it's like charisma, if it's, you're funny, you have a great character, right? There's things that you have that others also don't. And think of them as gifts and think of them as skills, is how I retain that information over and over again. I didn't learn it until later, of what that power and what that really puts on a person when you heard those words. Thinking about the gifts that I carry and the gifts that I have and what I can share to people, it's one of the greatest things possible. And making this channel was one of the best decisions possible because I get to pretty much talk about these things, but also hopefully help others with that. And then really in the comparison sense, like I said, you really don't know what others have gone through. You don't know their path. Their path is their own thing, right? And maybe in some way, shape, or form, that might seem like it's bad for it, or it's looking bad and it's looking into this direction, right? But it really just depends from person to person. And what I always remind myself every single day is that the opportunities and things that I have is something that I will always cherish, that I will always get through me being me and me knowing myself. And I don't really know completely all of me. I'm still learning that as I go about. Like I said, I'm 23 years old. So I share these things not with the full knowledge of me telling you or me preaching anything, but in terms of what I've noticed, even after high school, is that one of the best things ever given to me by my dad, by other people in my life, is that everybody has their own path. So comparison became a little bit less like, okay, a little less hindering, a little less taxing. Because even going in life, you'll see other people and you'll see your peers. And hopefully, a lot of them are doing well. Hopefully, a lot of them are, they're doing their own little individual lane things. But behind closed doors, and especially social media, has definitely done a big job, like pushing that out, right? Maybe you wouldn't want to, or for me's sake, right? Compare yourself into others in that shoe because they could, have this, but behind closed doors, it's flaunted to be something else, right? You really don't know. I think that's one of the biggest things that I can definitely share with people, with it. If anyone else has a say of comparison, they are more than happy to share with this. I couldn't offer much in this case of this video scenario. Like I said, this video is just more of like me kind of rambling, but also at the exact same time, it was a lesson there for me to share. And what I've gone through is that you don't know people's paths, right? You don't know what they're going through currently within that moment and what goes on from there. And I would say, and for myself, what helps me remember that is remember your gifts. Remember what you have, what you currently have, not only if it's friends, and I say gifts as in, obviously I mentioned earlier, personality, if it's privileges that you have, opportunities, you have them for a reason, and you have them because you are you, right? You have these opportunities because they chose you for this opportunity, right? And the things that happen with the comparison is there for a reason. I'm sorry, my computer's screaming black, so I apologize if I'm muted. But regardless, I wanted to put that in mind and just give people a little bit of perspective and go from there. But maybe the next video will probably be a little more thought out, but this is definitely more of just a ramble more than anything. But I love you guys. Remember your gifts. And I mean, I say that as a universal thing because that's more positive, right? Remember your gifts. Go from there. I love you all. And have a good Sunday. Today's Sunday, yeah. But we got work soon, so we gotta go.